It's Bible class Betty, and I'm so happy to see you're back for another lesson. Oh, well, last time we left off at the Judges chapter 2, verses 15. It wasn't going well. Israel hadn't obeyed God. They were worshiping idols. Oh, I'm really hoping this lesson's a lot better news. Well, before we ever start any lesson, we need to make sure we understand the words that are used in the Bible. Some of them aren't words we use today, and some of them meant different things in Bible times than they mean to us now. Let's look at the word afflict. Afflict would mean, to cause pain or suffering or unhappiness. That poor guy's afflicted with pain. How about Baal or Baal? You're right. That's that false god of the Canaanite people. Why, he was a big old hunk of rock, and the Canaanites worshipped him like he was the one true God. Oh, he was nothing. He was a piece of rock. And those Israelites who had known the real God, who parted the waters and sent them manna, they got tricked into worshiping Baal too. Corrupt. Oh, corrupt would be characterized by improper conduct. Why, it looks like those two businessmen are trying to do a deal. Well, to be corrupt would be taking a bribe or selling favors. It would be not a good character quality. How about covenant? You know this one. Why, it's a pact or agreement or a promise of loyalty between two people. And the most famous covenant in all the Bible is God's covenant on Mount Sinai during the Exodus, where he promised to provide and protect the Israelites if they kept his commandments. How about cubit? Why, this word is all over the Bible, and it's simply a unit of measure. Why, it's about 18 inches, about a foot and a half, the distance from, well, your elbow to your biggest finger, your longest finger, about 18 inches. How about dung? Oh dear, what kind of a lesson are we talking about? Well, it's poo. Did you know that's in the Bible? Oh dear. How about groan? Oh, it'd be an utter deep moan indicating pain or grief. Why, that's what I'd look like if I tried to do a sit up. I look like that when I try to stand up, too. Oh, hilt. What is hilt? I don't think I've heard that one recently. It's the handle of a sword or a dagger. The hilt, the very top of it, the part where you use your hand. How about kindle? We know that's not an electronic device. Why, kindle means to stir up, just a spark, to spark an idea, a thought. Kindle. How about a press? Oh, a press would be to crush or to burden or abuse because of your power or authority. He's oppressing, that boss is oppressing that man to go do more work. Oh, he looks so sad. How about oxgoad? We don't use that one anymore. Oxgoad is a long, pointed rod. It's used to urge oxen. So if you wanted those oxen to go a certain direction, you could poke them with the oxgoad and they'd go where you wanted. Palm. We know that's not your hand. It's a tree, a palm tree. It's usually tall and stemmy, and then it has a very beautiful crown of large, feathery, fan-shaped leaves on top. Palm. Prevail. Oh, that means to win against opposition, to be successful. He prevailed in the race. Seize. Oh, that might be to take possession by force. Subdue. Why, that's to overcome in battle, to bring under control. It looks like he's using a whip to try and subdue those slaves. Subdue. Transgress. That's just an older word for sin or wrongdoing or lawlessness. It's a violation of God's law. Hoard. Why, that's to pursue something that's unworthy. It's debased, it's unseemly, why it's false, it's chasing something that is not worth being chased. Well, the first judges is what we're looking at today. These are all going to be heroes who helped. Do you remember where we left Israel in our last lesson? Oh, they had chosen to follow those false idols that the Canaanites worshipped. God told Israel that he would no longer be with them. The Lord was going to allow Israel to experience his absence firsthand. Why the nations around Israel would act out in their aggression towards Israel, just like any country would against an invading nation. But God would not fight for them. Israel would learn what it was like to serve fake gods instead of the one true God. Let's review our chapter rhymes from last week and then we'll get started. Well, we did the end of chapter 23 was hold fast to the Lord and his decree is the message in Joshua 23. Oh, what a good reminder. Choose who you will serve. One God and no more is the final message in Joshua 24. Now we're in Judges, just one more chapter away, and things have gone horribly wrong. Israel continues. Their work was not done. More to conquest in Joshua chapter 1. Well, today we're going to be near Bochum or Bochum. The angel of the Lord spoke to the people of Israel at Bochum. The events described in the second half of the chapter would occurred throughout all of the promised land. Well, who are we going to meet in chapters 2 and 3? Well, of course, we'll talk a little more about Joshua because he hasn't been dead very long. And then, of course, there's that angel of the Lord, the messenger who appeared to the Israelites at the beginning of chapter 2 and rebuked them for not following God. So open up your Bibles to Judges chapter 2. And we're going to start reading in verse 16. But look, on my page, I have blue words. If it's a blue word, that's a person. Why, if you see a green word, that's going to be a place. If it's highlighted in yellow, that means someone's talking. And if it's words in red, it means it's God or a messenger from God speaking. Okay? The Lord raises up judges. Then the Lord raised up judges who saved them out of the hand of those who plundered them. Yet they did not listen to their judges, for they whored, chased after other gods, and bowed down to him. They soon turned aside from the way in which their fathers had walked, who had obeyed the commandments of the Lord, and they did not do so. Oh my! The judge at this time was more like a governor to represent the Lord than, a justice in a courtroom. As a magistrate, The judge's job would be to handle religious and civic affairs while leading the military expeditions against Israel's enemies. Even though the judges were appointed by God, Israel wouldn't listen to his leaders. Why? The Lord refers to Israel's unfaithfulness in the terms of a broken marriage. Why, Israel was not faithful and they chased after fake gods. Verse 18, whenever the Lord raised up a judge for them, the Lord was with the judge, and he saved them from the hand of their enemies. And all the days of the judges, for the Lord was moved by pity by their groaning, because of those who afflicted and oppressed them. But whenever the judge died, they turned right back and were even more corrupt than their fathers, going after other gods and serving them and bowing down to them. They did not drop any of their practices or their stubborn ways. Oh, this chapter describes the downward spiral of corruption of Israel, followed by oppression from Israel's enemies and a time of deliverance from the hand of the judge. But every time Israel fell back into sin after the death of a leader, they found themselves in a deeper pit. And do you see where it says that they would go after other gods? Notice that's not capitalized because the one true God, that is his name. These are fake gods. These are not the real God. Verse 20. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he said, oh, it's in red, so it's God speaking. Because this people have transgressed, sinned, my covenant that I commanded their fathers, and have not obeyed my voice, I will no longer drive out before them any of the nations that Joshua left when he died, in order to test Israel by them, whether they will take care to walk in the ways of the Lord as their fathers did, or not. So the Lord left those nations, not driving them out quickly, and he did not give them into the hand of Joshua. It's unbelievable to think that any nation could escape the penalty for its citizens engulfed in sin. Israel had aroused God's anger. He sought a drastic method to get Israel's attention and to bring them back where they were when Joshua died. Israel's delay in driving out the inhabitants was a direct result of Israel's lack of faith and hard work. God could still bring about a positive outcome if they returned to him. Now let's look at our rhyme for chapter 2. A generation who served Baals now grew, but leaders are raised in Judges 2. Okay, we're going to continue reading in chapter 3. Now, in Judges 3, we're spread out all over, well, probably at least 145 years. And the events recorded in Judges 3 affected all of the tribes of Israel. So we're going to be meeting Othniel. He was the first judge of Israel. Remember, he was the younger brother of Caleb. We're also going to meet Cushan Rishathaim. He was the king of Mesopotamia. Well, Ehud, he's the second judge of Israel. He was a left-handed man from the tribe of Benjamin. And then we'll meet Eglon. Eglon was the king of Moab, and he was described as a very fat man. Oh dear. Let's begin in verse 1. Now these are the nations that the Lord left to test Israel by them. That is, all in Israel who had not experienced the wars in Canaan. It was only in order that the generations of the people of Israel might know war, to teach war to those who had not known it before. For the generations of Israel who had not known war, they were about to experience it firsthand. Oh, hopefully, as a result, they would turn to God and be faithful to Him and look to Him for their victory. Verse 3. These are the nations, the 5 lords of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites and the Sidonians, the Hivites who lived in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal Hermon as far as Lebo Hamath. They were for a testing of Israel, to know whether Israel would obey the commands of the Lord, which He commanded their fathers by the hand of Moses. These 5 rulers of the Philistines are the 5 kings of the 5 Philistine cities: Gaza, Ashkelon, Ashdod, Ekron, and Gath. These nations are being used as a test. 2 benefits are listed. First, to teach the Israelites the type of warfare which God is released by faith to achieve good things. And the second is to prove their faithfulness and commitment even in the face of danger. This generation needed to learn firsthand that there was a blessing for those who persevered under trial and a reward for those who remained faithful to Him. Verse 5. So the people of Israel lived among the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And their daughters they took to themselves for wives. And their own daughters they gave to the Canaanites, Hivites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites for their sons. And they, the Israelites, served their gods. The Israelites are now in contact with their pagan neighbors daily. They're making friends. And now they are beginning to join them in marriage. This is a most sacred act of human relationships. They would have the most important things in common. Why? A mutual faith. But the inhabitants of Canaan, oh, they worship those fake gods. Now, the fake god worshippers are now a part of their family. Originally, the Canaanites were all the descendants of Ham. Remember Noah's 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth? But because Ham was disrespectful to his father, he received a curse that made him a servant to his brother. Later, Ham's descendants moved to Canaan. Ham's descendants made up different family groups. They no longer maintained any ties with each other except the land that they shared occasionally. Well, they should have known God because they were Noah's descendants. But somewhere they got it horribly wrong, and now they're going to tempt and teach our blessed Israelites how to sin. Verse 7. Othniel, remember Caleb's younger brother. And the people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. They forgot the Lord their God and served the Baals and Asheroth. Therefore the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and He sold them into the hand of Cushan-Rishathaim, the king of Mesopotamia. And the people of Israel served Cushan-Rishathaim 8 years. The Israel nation dismissed God in favor of those stone fake Baals and Asherah. Think of the Baals as like male idols and the Asheroths as a female version of the Baals. Thus, Israel is now going to serve as slaves to Cushan-Rishathaim for 8 years. The whole point was to get them out of slavery. And now they're doing ridiculous things. And here we are back as slaves. But when the people of Israel cried out to God, their Lord, He's so good. The Lord raises up a deliverer for the people of Israel who saved them. Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. The Spirit of the Lord was upon him, and he judged Israel, and he went out to war. And the Lord gave Cushan Rishaim, the king of Mesopotamia, into his hand, and his hand prevailed over Cushan Rishathaim, and the land had rest for 40 years. Then Othniel, the son of Kenaz, died. Even though the predicament Israel now finds herself in is, well, their own fault, when they cried out to the Lord, He hears. And not only hears, He answers. Othniel makes a good deliverer because, well, he's been experienced in warfare. He can handle his weapons. He has shared in the conquest of Canaan. Remember, he was right there fighting. He's familiar with God's way of doing things. He's known for his heroism. He's not timid and fearful. Remember Joshua 15? He was right there helping Caleb take the land with the giants. He's from the tribe of Judah that led the campaigns for Israel, those 40,000 men that led the crossing of the Jordan. He made an excellent first judge for Israel. Ehud, verse 12. And the people of Israel, remember Othniel's dad, again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord strengthened Eglon, the king of Moab, against Israel, because they had done what was evil in the sight of the Lord. He gathered to himself the Ammonites and the Amalekites, and he went and defeated Israel. And they took possession of the city of the palms. And the people of Israel served Eglon, the king of Moab, 18 years. Oh, Israel again turns away from God. The same acts they had been punished for before. God allows Eglon, the king of Moab, to overpower them. It was a longer time period, this time 18 years, before Israel was smart enough to cry out to God for help. Verse 15. Then the people of Israel cried out to the Lord, and he raised up for them a deliverer, Ehud, the son of Gera, a Benjamite, a left-handed man. The people of Israel sent tribute, maybe money, to him, to Eglon, the king of Moab. And Ehud made for himself a sword with 2 edges. Oh, 2 ways to cut. And it was a cubit, oh, that's 18 inches in length. And he bound it to his right thigh under his clothes. And he presented the tribute to Eglon, the king of Moab. And Eglon was a very fat man. So Ehud comes from the tribe of Benjamin, the tribe that suffered the most at the hands of the Moabites. Interestingly, the characteristic of being left-handed is how they describe Ehud. In those ancient times, why, if you were left-handed, that was considered a disability. Kind of like Rahab being a prostitute wasn't, well, the ideal person to use, you wouldn't think. Oh, but Ehud, because he was left-handed, was uniquely qualified for this job. He was qualified for the job at hand, left hand. Ehud could keep his right hand free to shake hands, while under the fold of clothing, why his left hand could grasp a sword. Ehud fashioned the sword. He made it so that he could easily conceal it under his clothing. Ehud had access to Eglon because of the yearly tribute that was required. So he's taking him all his bounty and gets to go before the king. Oh, verse 18. And when Ehud had finished presenting the tribute, he sent away everyone who carried the tribute. But he himself turned back at the idols of Gilgal and said, I have a secret message for you, O king. And the king commanded, silence! And all of his attendants went out from his presence. So we understand Ehud had a group of men who helped carry all the bounty and the tribute. And once it was presented, Ehud tells the king he's got a private message. Oh, Ehud wants to hear what their God has to say, so he sends everybody away. Oh, and Ehud came to him as he was sitting alone in the cool of his roof chamber. And Ehud said, I have a message from God for you. And he arose from his seat, and Ehud reached with his left hand and took the sword from his right thigh and thrust it into his belly. Oh! The king had been left alone in the cool roof chamber in the upper room, which was probably latticed windows and well ventilated with fresh air. And when Ehud says, I have a message from God, the very large fat man gets up, anticipating that he's going to tell him how important he is. And the message that's delivered by Ehud's action is not a whispered message. It is time for Eglon to pass on the reins of leadership to somebody else. He's excised. And the hilt, remember the handle of the sword, went in after the blade. And the fat covered the blade. For he did not pull the sword out of his belly. And dung came out. When Ehud went out into the porch and closed the doors of the roof chamber behind him, he locked them. And when he had gone, the servants came. And when they saw that the doors of the roof chamber were locked, they thought, surely he's relieving himself in the closet of the cool chamber. I think he's in the bathroom. So they waited till they were embarrassed, like a long time. But when he still did not open the doors of the roof chamber, they took a key and opened them, and there lay dead the Lord, their king, on the floor. And Ehud escaped while they had delayed in going in, and he passed beyond the idols and escaped to Syria. So immediately Ehud makes his escape, carefully covers his tracks to make it as difficult as possible to trace his actions. Some time passes before King Eglon's men make it in to check on the king to discover he's been assassinated. This is one of those great boy stories. A knife goes in, the king's fat rolls over the blade, poop comes out the wound, and Ehud escapes. Ha ha! Oh my! Well, when he arrived, he had sounded the trumpet. This is Ehud in the hill country of Ephraim. Then the people of Israel went down with him from the hill country, and he was their leader. And he said to them, follow after me, for the Lord has given your enemies to the Moabites into your hand. So they went down after him, and they seized the fords of the Jordan against the Moabites and did not allow anyone to pass over. So when Ehud arrives, he makes this call of arms, sounding the trumpets throughout the mountainous region of Ephraim. And the people of Israel come down from the hills and follow Ehud. They take a hold of the only route that the Moabite military could use. Verse 29, and they killed at that time about 10,000 Moabites, all strong, able-bodied men. Not a man, not one, escaped. So Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land had rest for 80 years. God, through Ehud, rallied the Israelites to overthrow 10,000 armed, well-conditioned Moabites. Why, the scripture states that no one escaped. In that act, Israel bought 80 years of freedom from the military presence of their enemies. Oh, well, we've got another judge, Shamgar, verse 31. This is the only verse we get about him. After him, after Ehud, was Shamgar, the son of Anath, who killed 600 of the Philistines with an ox goad. You know, the prodder for an ox? He killed 600 Philistines with an ox goad. And he also saved Israel. Remember that ox goad's that long pole with the metal chiseled tip at the end? Usually to herd animals. If a weapon had been confiscated by their oppressors, why, they would have to look for other things to use for a weapon. This could have been why he still had an ox goad and not a sword. And then he was able to kill 600 Philistines over his lifetime. That's incredible. Now, God uses unlikely people to accomplish his purposes. So far, he's used a left-handed man and a Canaanite woman. He uses unlikely people not only so that his power will be seen, but also so that his heart for the vulnerable will be seen. These victory stories with unlikely heroes bring glory to God. Let's look at our rhyme for 3. Ehud thrust a sword into Eglon's belly. Such a great story in Judges 3. Okay, chapters 2 and 3 cartoons. I have several this week. Oh, high priest warning. Worshipping idols may cause smiting and nasty curses. Well, isn't that the truth? Oh, Philistine idol. Can you imagine? Philistine idol. Who's your false favorite? Or how about a Canaanite idol? Graven image, got talent. Or Philistine idol, the golden calf call cuts out. Or how about American idolatry? Ancient hits, eternal misses. Oh, high priest of Baal going over their profit and loss statements. Oh, this is a sign outside of a church building. It says today's sermon and Ehud adventure. Rated R for violence. Children under 17 must be accompanied by a parent or guardian. No kidding. Oh my. 4 hours after no one spoke to the king, his servants discussed checking in on the royal men's room. Well, the king had 3 helpings of tuna nachos grande, so go ahead and check on them yourself. I don't think they want to go in there. Oh, Ancestry.com reveals that John Wick is a direct descendant of Shamgar from the book of Judges. Why, if you look at that death count by movie, why, Shamgar struck down 600 Philistines with an ox goad in one verse. Oh, can you imagine what John Wick could do if he had an ox goad instead of a gun? Well, if you're in my class, we got some homework to do this week. I'd like for you to finish your study guides for Joshua chapters 19 and 20, and then make sure you go over those chapter headings for Joshua chapters 1 through 24, and now add in chapter heading cards for Judges chapters 1 through 3. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye, my friends.